Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today I thought we'd have a look at this, but before that, just a quick apology that I've not been uploading any videos for a few weeks. Truth is, I've had some issues with my internet connection. About 3 weeks ago, I lost internet completely, and it took about nearly a week to actually get my service resumed. And since then, my internet connection has been appalling. I can describe it as a little faster than dial-up, basically. I've not been able to really watch any YouTube videos. I've attempted a number of times to upload some videos and it's just not worked. I've even tried dropping the resolutions on them to see if I could get something to upload, and it's just not happened, really. Fortunately, today it seems to be a little bit better. It does seem to be running a little bit faster. I could at least watch a YouTube video earlier, so I thought I'd have another go. I do have some videos I've made while I've not been able to upload, which I will get up once I'm happy I've got a decent speed. But I thought I'd make a quick video on this. This arrived in the post today. I picked this up on eBay for a tenner, and what we've got here is an old Toshiba T1000 laptop from, I think, 1987, and this was quite a cool little unit. I mean, back in 1987 I think Compaq was still producing like the big luggable kind of portable computers, and this is what Toshiba come out with. I actually believe that it was the lightest laptop available at the time when it actually came out, this, and it's quite interesting actually. I'll just open it up. We've got a CJ compatible display up here, and it does actually, apparently it does output CJ as both digital TTL, and it also outputs it as composite, so we can run it on a standard composite monitor. So that's quite a nice feature with it. It's got a 720k floppy disk drive. It's 8088 base, so it's 4.7 megahertz. It's not even turboed, so it's absolute standard, like original IBM PC XT kind of spec computer. But it's cool because it's so small. Like I've got old vintage XTs and 286s, but the huge things are a pain to actually use because they're so large to set up as well. This is really nice and compact. And like I said, it cost me a tenner with about £8 postage on it. It was sold as faulty. It was sold as that he tried it with the power pack, and we do have the original Toshiba power pack for it here. Apparently the power pack is definitely dead because he tried it on another one that he had. He tried another power supply that he had on this computer, and that won't power the computer up either. So yeah, let's crack into it and see what we can actually diagnose. I think first thing we'll do is we'll just make sure, see if we have got any voltage coming out of the power supply that came with it. So we'll plug it in, switch it on. We've got the meter up here. Let's get the meter set to volts DC. I'll put you up on the meter there. So we've got the meter set up to volts DC there. We'll get the probes out, and we'll just do the usual. We'll just connect that to there, shove that in there, and yeah, he's right, there's absolutely bugger all coming out of that. Now it could be as simple as we've just got a break in the cable or something, as let's get you back down here. Something as simple as that, but to be honest, I've got oh, excuse me, I've got this power supply here, which is what's this got? 9 volts at 2 amps. The Toshiba one that came with it is oops, dropped on the floor. Is 9 volts at 1.1 amps. So this is plenty. This is more than enough to power it. It's got the correct plug on it, so we'll use this for initial testing, and then once we've got the laptop working, we can get the laptop working, we'll probably have a look at repairing the original power supply. And if we can't repair the original power supply, I'll probably just buy one of these cheapos like this, because they're not too bad, and rebuild it in that original Toshiba power supply's case, so it all looks original. Let's just get these cables out of the way so they're not dangling in front of the camera. There we go. So we'll plug it up with this known good power supply. And we'll try it with that. And as we can see, no, it's completely dead with that. I am not surprised, to be honest, because I have done a little bit of reading online on these things. And one of the major issues with them is their internal battery. Basically, their internal battery fails, shorts out, and prevents the entire computer from firing up. So I think what we'll do is we'll open it up, and I don't know whether we can just disconnect the internal battery and then it'll work off the power supply. I'm not sure, or whether we'll have to substitute, put a new battery in it, or we may even be able to fire it up by just feeding some voltage into where the battery should go. I've done that many a time to get old computers to fire up these old laptops. So yeah, let's get in it. I just love how well built this thing is. Look at this for a carry handle. I mean, you've actually got a carry handle on the laptop, not just on a bag, and you ain't going to be worried about that thing snapping off. It's actually a proper metal carry handle, and it snaps shut like that. It snaps into the bottom of the case. I think that's just a really cool feature. Right, let's get cracked into it and let's see what we can find. Is that going to do it? Yeah. Someone suggested I should have an electric screwdriver for doing this. I've actually got one. I've actually just left it in my tool bag because I had a job where I needed to take loads and loads of little screws out, so I threw it in my tool bag. But I will bring it up here. I'll need a little adapter to fit these smaller bits that I've got lots of. But it might make the old disassembler procedure that little bit faster. It's either that, or I'm actually going to have to find some time to do editing and speed up my taking the screws out process, or edit it out. But I kind of like showing you how long these things take. I mean, if you've never taken one of these old laptops apart before, it's just kind of interesting to show that there is quite a bit. It's quite involved, actually. Oh, don't worry, that was my other laptop I've got set up at the moment, just shouting at me. Right, I presume this is how you get in. Well, that looks free. Right, what if I not... Have I missed a screw somewhere? Or have we got one of them little plastic clips somewhere? I think we've got a little plastic clip somewhere, you know. Let's just zoom you up and bring you up so you can see what I'm doing. I think there's a little clip round here somewhere. Ah, there it is. Now you do have to be careful when this all, because the plastic is starting to get very, very brittle. Not missed anything on the back, have I? I think there might be another little clip around here somewhere. There's a clip about here by the feel of it. Marking the plastic there. Let's try. See, it's come back like that. Let's have a look. It really does seem to just be clipped in at that, on that back edge, and that seems to be what's holding it in now. Come on. Ah, we can disconnect at least we can disconnect the screen here. That might make life a little bit easier. Right, that's off, so at least I don't have to worry that I'm going to damage the screen now. Now let's tip it on its side and let's see. I can't see any more screws, so it has just got to be. Yeah, because all them screws are out. It has just got to be some little plastic. Ah, there's something on that back there that's not allowing it to detach now. I wonder why. There we go, and we're out. So there we've got the screen there. Right, let me get you down so you can see what we're looking at. And we've got the computer itself. Now that looks like, I don't know now. That could be a standard 720k floppy drive. I'm not 100% sure because that cable looks a little bit narrower than standard 720k, but that doesn't mean anything because you don't need all the pins on a one of these floppy drives. So I have seen narrower cables like that before. We'll see about that. I think that actually may be a RAM expansion. We'll find out when we get the thing to fire up, but I have a feeling, I'm sure when I was having a look, doing a little bit of research on this, that there is an optional RAM expansion. I could be wrong, but we'll find out. The good news is that the board looks really nice and clean. It does look lovely and clean. I can't see anything. We'll get the soldering iron switched on and we'll have a little poke around, see if we can smell any capacitor leakage, because we could have capacitor leakage in it. Although the board looks nice and shiny, it doesn't look terrible like you see on some. In fact, the whole computer does look very nice and clean. Now, this is going to be the power supply. Let's disconnect it from the board. How does that come out? Yeah, there we go. So that's how we can rebuild that quite easily actually if we need to. I mean, I'm guessing it's completely dead, and I'm not sure how that's wired actually. That's quite weird. If you look, because we've got 2 lives and 2 neutrals, 2 positives and 2 negatives there, so I don't know if they just doubled them up or it uses, I mean, these will be what? Be 1.2 volt cells, won't they? So we've got what? We've got about 5 volts. So we've got about 5 volts there. No, I really can't see any corrosion on the board actually. I'm amazed how clean it looks in there. There's a little bit of something there, a little bit of crud there maybe, but it does look very, very clean. Spotless almost actually. I wonder what those 2 connectors there are for. Looks like they take some kind of ribbon cable. So I wonder if you could have like an optional modem card or something fitted in there. Obviously this hasn't got one, but it looks like it may be able to actually take something like that. You've got a connector there for an external keypad. I wonder if we just try powering it up now with the battery removed and see if actually that gets it to come on. Yeah, it's off at the moment. I mean, I know we've not got a display connected up at the moment, but at least we'll see if the light there comes on. So I don't know whether... No, there's nothing coming on there. I wonder actually. I wonder if now we've got that off like that, we should be able to test some voltages on that connector, on the battery connector there. It'll at least show if we've got any power coming through to the computer itself. And we can take it from there. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do next. We will just get the old meter leads out. Well, that's set to DC volts. Let's set that down to 10 because we should be only expecting about 5-6 volts or so here. It can't be any more than 9 with the power supply that we're using. Right, so that clips on. Which way around does that go? That goes on that way, doesn't it? Yeah, that goes on that way. So these 2 are negative. Let's try that one and that one. We've got nothing there. Try the other side. We've got nothing there. We'll try that there. Ah, we're getting half a volt there. Getting nothing there, but between them two, we're getting half a volt. So that's not looking too good, is it? Are we getting anything between the other two? No, we're getting absolutely nothing there. But if we go between that one and that one, there is half a volt there. Well, that's not looking too good, is it? Let's see if that goes away when I switch the switch off. Yeah, that's decaying away, that's dying away now. So that was just a capacitor, that's weird. So could we have bad capacitors around there? Because I would expect us to get at least something on the charging pins there, obviously to try and charge the battery. But does that mean if we put 5 volts into the other connections on there, we could get this thing to fire up? That's the point. I'm tempted actually to do that. I'm tempted to try and feed 5 volts into the them 2 pins there and see if we can get it to fire up. I mean, there's a possibility that will actually get us to get it to fire up, you know. Well, it's nothing to really lose, have we? I wonder. I've been powering this little radio while I've been working from 5 volts from an old USB cable. So that's good for 2 amps, isn't it? And this thing's nowhere near 2 amps. So I've got a good stable 5 volts here. Oh, my soldering iron's warm as well, so let's have a think how we're going to do this. I could just solder, literally just solder from that one and that one, solder them, just tap them on like that just to test. It's a bit of a nasty way of doing it, but it would certainly work. Let's just make sure we know which ones are which, because obviously we've got 2 which have I think are probably the charge circuit and 2 which are output. So let's just double check to make sure we've got the right ones. Ah, now that's interesting. I am now getting. Yeah, I'm getting 6 volts now. And I was getting nothing on them before. Absolutely. Well, I was getting half a volt on them, weren't I? And I'm now getting a good, a fairly good well, it's not too stable. It keeps fluctuating between about 4.5 and 6 volts on that pin and that pin. Let's try the other 2. And now on them 2, I'm getting 9 volts. Again, it's fluctuating a little bit, but I'm definitely getting 9 volts on there. Like I said, I was getting absolutely nothing before. So is something waking up? I've still not got any power light lit, but not even any attempt to light there. But let's try switching it off. See what we get on either of these now. That one and that one. Oops. That's died away. So let's try that one and that one. These should be the inputs. And no, we've still got a good. We've got a good 9 volts there, so that must be dependent on the voltage coming in. So it doesn't really matter what way around you have the switch switched. Now that's more interesting. I wonder if we try connecting the battery back up just briefly. I am guessing this battery is absolutely shot, but never know. I wonder if we'll measure on that, see if the battery's actually will get any voltage through to that. Okay, I'm expecting there'll be really nothing in this battery, but now that's now a steady volt there. Oh, hang on, it's in the wrong hole then. No, we've got a volt there. Let's try. So obviously that battery is internally pretty much shorted out. Don't want to run it for too long because it could be getting quite hot. I'll switch off actually. But that's interesting. So, let's just see if we have got anything in this battery. It should be completely dead, I'd expect, but we can find out. And, half a volt. Yeah, both of them show exactly the same. I'm sure they're probably connected internally. Well, let's just find that out. Let's see if them are connected internally. But it's showing about half a volt, the battery, so I think it's pretty well goosed. Yeah, they're dead short inside, so they must go to exactly the same. I don't know why they've used two wires together then. That's odd. So I'm wondering, could I get this to fire up if I just feed 5 volts into them two and connect them two to ground? I don't think I'd do any harm, would I, by trying it? I don't think I'm going to blow anything up. Because we know one's it's going to be an under voltage. We'll have any other mains connected and we'll just try feeding 5 volts at 2 amps. Well, about 2 amps. Because I'm going to use this old it's an old iPad charger because they're fairly stable. And I'll lash that up and we'll see what happens. Hopefully it won't release the magic smoke, but we don't know. So if this works, then I'm probably more inclined to have a go at rebuilding that battery pack. Or making it so it just run off 5 volts. I mean, that'd be easy enough. We don't need it really to run on a battery pack. It's just for a bit of fun in the me messing about with. So, I don't know. Let's have a go at this. So if we connect that to the ground, connections like that, and we connect this side to the 5 volt in, make sure they don't short together. Push that over there so they can't short. Right, so we've got 5 volts at 2 amps connected up to the board. Let's have that off just to be on the safe side. We'll switch this on and we'll see if we get a power light to come on. We have a power light. We have a beep. Did you hear that? We got a beep then. Let's shut off again. I wonder if we can connect up the display and see what we can get out of it. If I just, because obviously I'll have to leave these connected, but if I kind of push them down a little bit. Oops. Let's get the keyboard. Not the keyboard, sorry, the display. The keyboard's already down there. I do like the way this thing's built as well, with the keyboard like there on the bottom of the motherboard. Right, so we've got a display now. We don't know if this display is going to work. Apparently they're quite notorious for not working in these. But I have been told if they don't work, it's usually just capacitor related, so we'll see. Alright, let's have a look. Keep your fingers crossed and we'll switch on. well, the display fired up. I saw it flash. Memory test. Can you, let me see if I can try the contrast. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see 640k? Let me zoom you in. There we go. Don't know if you can see that, but we're booted up to our C prompt. That's the other really cool thing I actually like about this computer. Amazingly, it's actually got MS-DOS 2.11 in ROM. So it doesn't have a hard drive, and you can't write to it, but its C drive is actually MS-DOS 6. Sorry, not MS-DOS, MS-DOS 2.11 in, like I said, in ROM. So we do a dir, and we can see there we've got it. There's basically all of MS-DOS 2.11 for us to use there in ROM. Now, I think I'm probably going to leave this video here, actually. We can see that the computer... Let's just see if it'll format a disk. I don't actually know... Have I got any disks up here which are 720k DOS formatted? I know I've got a load of old Amiga disks, but... Oh, hang on, what have we got here? Ah! Yes, we do. Now... I don't know what we can actually read off this, but I do actually have some discs here which are all 720k PC discs. Now, I don't know what's on them. Well, that's got a mouse driver on it, but at least we can test whether the disk drive works. So if I put that in the disk drive, type A:, no, it's not reading. So obviously we've got an issue. In fact, it's not even bringing the disk light up. So we've got an issue with the disk drive to contend with. Yeah, it's not even trying to... It's not even trying to read that disk. It's not, like I said, the light and nothing's happening with it at all. Just try a different disk just in case that's... No, there's nothing wrong with that one, but let's try our BART again. Let's go back to C:, and well, in fact, let's just make sure that the disk drive is set correctly, because you can actually swap it on here. No, it's set. Let's try. Right, just in case. No, I don't think so. See, there's a switch on the side of it to switch between the internal and the external disk drive being which drives A and which drives B. So I've just tried it in the other position, but no, it is. We do have a disk drive issue, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm actually quite surprised. The computer is actually basically working. We may have to put a new disk drive in it. We're certainly going to have to rebuild the battery pack, and I think that's what we'll probably do in the next instalment of this. I'll get some cells. In fact, I think I might have a scrap drill battery I can salvage some good cells out of, some NiCads, and we'll rebuild it old school style so it would actually work as it would have originally. We'll get to having a look at, well, we can use this power supply, the 9-volt power supply, if we can get the battery to work. If we can't get the battery to work, we might actually just convert this thing to run on 5 volts and just run it off a 5-volt power supply like we are doing now. But so there's still plenty of things to do with this, but I am super pleased. Like I say, it cost me a tenner. And it's quite a nice, unusual little laptop. And I actually have some practical uses for it as well, believe it or not. It should be able to at least run my EEPROM program and my little component analyzer. And it's nice and small. You know, I can stick the component analyzer behind the screen there and have it set up. And it's really neat and compact. And that's what I need up in my workshop, because I've got far too much old junk for the space that I've actually got to work it in. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope you enjoyed this little update, and like I said, apologies for the lack of video content in the last few weeks. It will be remedied as soon as hopefully my internet connection is sorted properly. Virgin Media are actually in the process of putting fibre in our area, so I may contemplate when that's all in, perhaps going to a fibre connection and hopefully having something slightly better than what I've got now. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed this little video, and look out for a part 2 on this, where we'll have a look at the battery and look at that disk drive and see if we can get it into a slightly more functional state. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.